Hello, my name is Adrienne DeWolf. Today, I'm going to read excerpts from the third book in my Velvet Lies series of Western historical romances. By the way, the books in this series have a paranormal twist. But first, in case you're wondering what the voice in this video looks like, here I am. In this photo, I'm autographing my #1 best-selling novel, Scoundrel for Hire, which is the first book in the Velvet Lies series. Here's the ebook cover for Scoundrel for Hire, which I'm pleased to report is receiving rave reviews. Romantic Times magazine called it a laugh-out-loud romp. You know, it's always a good feeling when reviewers figure out that the book you're writing is supposed to be a farce. Book 2 in the Velvet Lies series is my award-winning Doubleday Book of the Month. His Wicked Dream features my first alpha hero and a passel of lovable orphans. Furry, four-legged orphans. But this video is dedicated to book number 3 in the Velvet Lies series. Seduced by an Angel is the story of Sarah Jones, the sister of Rafe and Michael Jones, who were the heroes of Scoundrel for Hire and His Wicked Dream. Sarah's real name is Serafina. She was named after angels. Not that she's so angelic, but Sarah is a preacher's daughter, so she's good at heart. The trouble is, she's restless and bored with life in her very small Kentucky town. She wants a romantic adventure. She wants to meet a man who is worthy to be kissed. Enter Jesse Quaid from Texas. Jesse is part Cherokee. He's also on the run from the law. But Jesse keeps those uncomfortable little details a secret from Sarah. In fact, Jesse dupes the entire Jones family into believing that he's a horse trainer. He does it for one very specific purpose. He wants to woo Sarah into trusting him. You see, Jesse can't remember why he woke up one morning with a dead body in his bed. He thinks Sarah can help him clear his name of murder. Jesse knows that Sarah is a seer. When she touches man-made objects, she has visions about the people who used them. The trouble is, Sarah is terrified of her visions. She thinks her visions are sinful, or maybe even a symptom of craziness. She wears gloves to make sure never to trigger her touching curse. Jesse's mission to befriend Sarah and to clear his name is further complicated by his outlaw pal, Cass. Cass is a heartbreaker. Women fairly swoon over his fallen angel's smile. Jesse fears he won't stand a chance with Sarah if he doesn't send Cass away. So Jesse tells Cass to ride across the Tennessee border and wait for him. He explains that he wants to go into the mountains on a Cherokee vision quest. At its heart, Seduced by an Angel is a love triangle. Due to a case of mistaken identity, Sarah doesn't realize that the handsome young stranger, whom she discovers unconscious in the woods, is none other than Jesse's hot-headed outlaw pal, Cass. And when Jesse's lies about his past start to catch up with him, breaking Sarah's heart, who should be available to help her through the pain but her charming and irresistible patient, Cass? For today's first excerpt, I've chosen a passage that features Sarah and Jesse. Jesse smirked. "Is that the worst thing you've ever done, Miss Sarah? Sneak out on your chores?" "Of course not, but I can't tell you the worst thing I've ever done." He looked thoroughly amused now. "How come? I thought we were friends." "I don't hear you volunteering tales of your wickedness, Jesse Quaid." Well, that's because you're a lady, and you'd look mighty silly if your ears melted off. Fiddle! My ears are as impervious as stone. Fess up, Jessie. What did you do? Sneak a penny dreadful inside your school reader? Hide a frog in some pesky girl's bonnet? Switch the sugar for salt at the church barbecue? Tell me. He was folding Laura Clay's pamphlet and shaking his head, those panther green eyes dancing with mirth. Jessie, I tattled on me. It's only fair that you tattle on you. Miss Sarah, I'm quite a few years older than you, so I've had quite a few more years to make mischief. Let's just leave it at that. He repositioned the hat on his head. Besides, I reckon I should start putting Tempest through her paces. I wouldn't want your brother to accuse me of malingering. Sarah laughed. As if I'd ever tell Michael what you and I do out here in the pasture. Jessie turned an endearing shade of red. Sarah grinned. She hadn't meant anything naughty. Well, all right. Maybe she had, just a little. She liked to flirt with Jessie. To see the proof of his attraction to her was a heady pleasure. To know that attraction came with a conscience was reassuring. It made her wish he would ask her to the Founder's Day dance, even if he was just her brother's hired hand. Jessie handed the pamphlet back to her. In the second that her fingers closed over the paper, a paper that she'd held without gloves at least 100 times, a surge of electricity crackled through her hand. It wasn't a welcome feeling. She gritted her teeth. The lightning pulse charged up her arm into her brain. She realized she was about to have one of her dreaded visions. She fought the kaleidoscopic rush of color with all her strength, but it had already gotten a toehold in her mind, blinking out the royal blue expanse of sky and the concern that was kindling in Jessie's gaze. Reds, grays, and blacks prickled the back of her eyes. The details were crowding in, blasting open the door to her consciousness with the force of a cyclone. She swayed. The first visions were a confusing montage of Jessie in his youth, hunting with a bow and arrow, defending himself in a circle of bullies, struggling futilely in the arms of men wearing gunny sacks for masks. As those last disturbing visions began to fade, Sarah saw a bellows and a forge. Gagged and hog-tied to the foot of that anvil, a wild-eyed Jessie lay on his side, naked from the waist up. His shirt lay in tatters around him. Rivulets of sweat rolled down his perfect chest. He appeared to be no older than 15. He was struggling desperately against rope bonds as he watched a blacksmith draw a red-hot branding iron from the flames. The man leered as he turned toward his terrified prisoner. The blacksmith's face twisted in a fiendish mask of triumph. Sarah reeled. That horrible, horrible man was going to torture Jessie. I'd like to read one other excerpt today, mainly because it holds such a special place in my heart. Few people are aware that I've been trained as a habitat steward for the National Wildlife Association. I've pledged to give a portion of my royalties from the Velvet Lies series to urban reforestation efforts to help plant trees in the cities. Jessie's deep reverence for nature is my deep reverence for nature. One of the reasons I chose to make him a Native American is because Native Americans recognize the connection between all things. They consider that connection sacred. This second excerpt is my interpretation of the Cherokee wedding prayer as it appears in Seduced by an Angel. Great Spirit, hear our prayer. Before Father Sky and Mother Earth and all the wonders of the world, we offer our deepest gratitude for your guidance and for this sacred morning now when we pledge our lives in love. We ask that Father Sky embrace us, that we may always know his wisdom as we walk the good red road. We ask that Mother Earth nurture us, that our union may always know plenitude and peace. We ask that sacred fire warm our hearts and keep our love flame burning bright. We ask that sacred water purify us, that we may always honor each other's truth. We ask that sacred wind breeze us through the storms, refreshed and renewed in the commitment to our love. Great Spirit, we pray that we may live in harmony with your creations, with our cousins who are feathered, furred, and finned, with the stone people and the green brothers, and with all the powers, both seen and unseen, that orchestrate this world. Great Spirit, we ask for your blessing, that we may find happiness with each passing season, that our love may deepen with each rising sun and star, and that we may always know your truest guidance as we walk each day as husband and wife. Great Spirit, before you and all the majesty that you have created, we seal these wedding vows. Aho.